I spent my life chasing independence. It took a luxury nursing home to realize that independence was actually isolation. For 40 years, I thought the goal was not to need anyone, to have enough money to pay for everything. I succeeded. I got the gold package at the senior facility, $4,000 a month. The floors were marble. The nurses were on time. But the silence was loud enough to break your ribs. I was safe, but I was useless. I was paying a fortune to wait for death in a comfortable chair. If you think money will save you from loneliness, look at me. It almost buried me alive. I treated my aging like a business problem. I was a corporate executive for 40 years. I was used to control when my wife passed, and these hands started shaking. I thought I could just manage the decline. I thought money was the shield. I tried the right way, the way society tells you is respectable. First, I moved in with my son. I thought it would be warm. It was suffocating. I wasn't their father anymore. I was a guest who wouldn't leave. I found myself walking on eggshells in my own pajamas. Dad, the TV is too loud. Dad, you're using too much salt. I heard them whispering in the kitchen late at night, arguing about who would drive me to the doctor. I wasn't part of the family. I was a project, a burden. I felt small. So I did what a businessman does. I liquidated assets. I bought independence. I hired home care. $4,000 a month. For that price, I got a stranger sitting in my kitchen, scrolling on her phone while I ate my dinner in silence. She checked my blood pressure. She made sure I didn't fall. But she didn't look at me. Not really. To her, I was just a shift that ended at 5 p.m. I worshipped safety. I thought if I was safe, I would be okay. But safety is cold. I sat in that expensive chair, surrounded by paid help, and realized something terrifying. You can be perfectly safe, perfectly fed, and perfectly medically stable, and still be dead inside. I had built a fortress of money to protect myself, and I was locked inside it, alone. The breaking point wasn't a heart attack, it was a door handle. I was 3 weeks into the gold package at the facility. It was 8:45 p.m. I put on my coat. I just wanted to smell the rain. I needed to feel cold air on my face, to remind myself I was still alive. I walked to the main entrance, locked. A nurse, a girl young enough to be my granddaughter, walked over with a soft, pitying smile, the kind you give to a confused toddler. "Mr. Chen," she said, "it's past curfew. It's for your own good. Let's get you to bed. For my own good." I stood there, my hand shaking on the cold metal lever. I used to negotiate million-dollar contracts. I used to raise a family. I drove across the country. And now I needed permission to breathe fresh air. I realized then, this wasn't a home. It was a warehouse for expiring humans. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I just packed my bag the next morning. My son said I was crazy. He said, "Dad, it's not safe at your house." I told him I'd rather die on my own floor than live in your cage. I went back to my old house. It was dusty, silent. For 3 days, I just sat on my porch, terrified. I thought, maybe they were right. Maybe I am just a useless old man, waiting for the end. Then came the Tuesday. I was sitting on the park bench, across from the elementary school, just watching the leaves fall. I saw my neighbor Sarah. She's a young mother, maybe 32. She was running, literally running in heels. Her hair was a mess. She was screaming into her phone, I'm coming, don't close the gate." She was late to pick up her daughter Emma. Again, I saw Emma standing by the fence, looking at her shoes, alone, and I saw Sarah arrive, breathless, sweating, dragging the poor girl into the car, snapping at her because of the stress. I saw the tears in Sarah's eyes. She had a job. She had money. She had youth. But she didn't have time. She was drowning in the rat race. I had just left, and I looked at my hands, these shaking, useless hands. I had nothing but time. I had nowhere to be, no meetings, no curfew. I had an abundance of the one asset she was starving for. The business part of my brain woke up. I wasn't broken inventory. I was a solution to her problem. I stood up. My knees hurt, but my mind was clear for the first time in years. I didn't need a caregiver. I needed to give care. I walked over to Sarah's car. She looked scared, like she was about to apologize for the noise. I didn't say hello. I said, "Sarah, I have nothing to do at 3 p.m. Let me walk Emma home tomorrow." That was the moment the patient died, and the grandfather was born. The silence is gone. My house used to sound like a museum. Now there are muddy footprints in the hallway. There are crayon shavings on the floor, and it is the most beautiful mess I have ever seen. Let me tell you about my new job. It starts at 2:45 p.m. I put on my coat. I take my cane. I walk to the school. It takes me 20 minutes because my legs are stiff. In the old life, the nurses would try to rush me. They'd say, "Come on, Mr. Chen, pick up the pace." But Emma is 6. She doesn't want to rush. She wants to look at a ladybug on the sidewalk. She wants to jump over the cracks. My slowness, it isn't a disability to her, it's a feature. I am the only adult in her life who isn't checking a watch. When her little hand grabs mine, that sticky, warm little hand, I don't feel shaky. I feel like an anchor. She tells me about the dragon she drew. I tell her about the time I saw a tiger in a zoo in 1955. We are two people moving at the same speed in a world that is spinning too fast. And here is the magic. When we get back to my house, I don't just sit there. She needs a snack. I peel an apple. It takes me a long time. My hands tremble. A paid caregiver would take the knife away. They would say, "Let me do it. It's safer." They would steal my agency to protect me. But Emma just watches. She learns patience. She waits. And when I hand her that slice of apple, I have provided for someone. Do you understand? I am not the receiver of care. I am the giver. That shift, it changes your chemistry. It heals you faster than any pill. And then, around 5:30, the door opens. It's Sarah. She doesn't come in with a clipboard or a bill. She comes in with a pot. "Beef stew, Rob," she says. "I made too much." We both know she didn't make too much. She made it for me. But it's not charity. It's a trade. I gave her peace of mind for 2 hours. She gives me a hot meal. I don't eat alone anymore. Sometimes they stay. We sit at this scratched wooden table. Sarah complains about her boss. Emma spills her milk. I wipe it up. I am useful. Last Saturday, my kitchen faucet started leaking. In the old days, I would have panicked. I would have called a plumber, paid $200, and felt helpless. Instead, Sarah's husband, Mark, came over with his toolbox. He's a good man, but he doesn't know a wrench from a hammer. I can't crawl under the sink anymore. My back won't let me. But I sat on a stool. I pointed. I guided him. "Turn it clockwise, Mark." Gently. He fixed it. He felt proud. I felt needed. We drank a beer afterward. He didn't treat me like a fragile old antique. He treated me like a man who knows how plumbing works. We talked about baseball. We didn't talk about my blood pressure. My son still calls. He asks, "Dad, is it safe? What if you fall?" I tell him, if I fall, I fall. But I won't lie there for 3 days. Because at 3 p.m., a little girl will be waiting at the gate. And if I'm not there, the alarm gets raised. That is real safety. Safety isn't a panic button around your neck. Safety is being missed. And the money? Let's talk about the math. I was paying $4,000 a month to be lonely. Now, my mortgage is paid. My taxes are low. I spend about $500 a month on utilities and simple groceries. I don't pay for care. I have a community. I have a village. I am rich, not because I have millions in the bank, but because I have a neighbor who has a key to my house, and I have a drawing on my fridge that says Grandpa Rob. I trade my time for their energy. I trade my wisdom for their youth. It is an ecosystem. I am not dying, I am living. Now I need to speak to you. You are working hard right now. You are stressing about your 401k. You are terrified you won't have enough money to pay for good care when you get old. Stop. You are saving up to buy a cage. You don't need $1 million to have a good death. You need a village. And you can't buy a village. You have to build it. Don't wait until your hands shake. Start now. Look at your neighbor, the one you ignore. Don't ask, what can I get from them? Ask, what can I do for them? Bake a cake. Watch their cat. Fix their fence. Independence is a lie. It is a lonely mountaintop. Interdependence, needing others, and being needed by them, that is the valley where life happens. Stop trying to be safe. Try to be useful. Because when the end comes, you won't want a nurse checking her watch. You will want a friend holding your hand. Don't buy the nursing home. Build the fourth door. I see you. I see you staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., calculating numbers in your head. You are terrified of the winter coming. You are building walls of gold to keep the cold out. You think, if I just work harder, if I just save more, I will be safe. You carry the weight of the future on your back like a sack of stones. But listen to the silence of this room. It is not empty, it is full. Let this old man tell you the secret that took me 75 years to learn. Control is an illusion. The modern world tricked you. It told you that independence is the highest virtue. It told you to be an island. But islands are lonely places when the tide rises. I spent 40 years building a fortress of assets, thinking it would protect me, but I found that a fortress is just a prison, with nicer furniture. Death is not impressed by your bank account. It does not check your credit score. When the end comes, the noise of the market fades. The applause stops. The only thing that remains is the invisible web you spun between people. We are leaves on a tree. If a leaf thinks it can survive without the branch, it dries up and falls. So, put down the calculator. Stop trying to solve the problem of the future. You cannot solve it. You can only live it. Look at today. Look at the person living next door to you. You probably don't even know their name. Change that. Here is my request. Break the seal of isolation. Don't write a check. Don't join a club. Just bake a loaf of bread, or buy an extra coffee, or offer to water their plants. Knock on their door. Look them in the eye. Offer a small piece of your time without asking for a receipt. We are not meant to survive alone. We are meant to belong. You don't need to be rich to be safe. You just need to be a neighbor. Build your village before the night comes. The only thing you keep is what you give away.